Hello. So guys, you know, I'm going to re-record for today class on TypeScript. Last, basically in our class, there was some issue with the microphone, right? So hopefully this is working now. I should be always check right when I record. Okay, look at this line running. Okay, that is mic running. It's good to go now, right? Let's continue. So what is TypeScript? TypeScript is nothing but the superset of the JavaScript, right? What that means, like it provides some kind of additional security, right, in the data. Okay, so if you look at this definition here, first understand JavaScript. Let's understand JavaScript, right? Let's go understand JavaScript. Okay, and why we need TypeScript, because there is JavaScript and TypeScript. What is the issue with JavaScript? And to solve that problem, right, the TypeScript was invented. So let's do that. Just going to clean this quickly, and then where is the reset canva right here? So just imagine JavaScript, right? In JavaScript, what we have? Types of database data, right? Types. What are the types there? Number, string, boolean, null, undefined, right? Also, you're gonna get object. Then you're gonna have array, right, with object inside like this. A lot of object inside, right? So see, the problem in JavaScript is, let's say I have let number, right? Number equal to 100. See, this is one variables number with 100. Even if you put number like this equal to now some string. So in program, right, I need number, some kind of number, right? But I'm sending string. See, so even by transferring this variable, creating this, not transferring, but basically adding new value to the number variable, there will be no error. I mean, I can reassign the new data, right, to the variable. It will give no error. Okay, so that is the bad practice of programming, right? In like strictly typed language like C++, Java, right? All the data are predefined. Okay, predefined, right? But in JavaScript, or like loosely typed language like Python, JavaScript, or PHP, you don't have type checking in front, right? So you have to, in like additionally, you take help of something, right? So in case of JavaScript, we have typescript, which like provide additional type checking for our data. Type checking, right? Then once you have code written in TypeScript, it will compile to JavaScript. So the thing is, JavaScript is only which runs in the browser, and let's look at this, right? So you have TypeScript inside app.ts. You write all the code in TypeScript, then it will compile to JavaScript, right? So you will get app.js. This is the only things gonna run in browser or Node.js. Okay, JavaScript is only run on browser and Node.js. TypeScript does not run. You write something in TypeScript, it will convert to JavaScript. So type checking, if there is any mistake, right, in your type, then it will send error message. So you make correction there. So in that way, when you deploy your code, when your code becomes production ready, right, all the types are pure. I mean, there is no any mistake, right? So that's the reason we use TypeScript. Okay, just to make correct syntax, right? Correct data type. You supply correct data type. Okay, supply correct data type. So let's quickly go through the examples right here. First, you have to install the globally TypeScript. You can install that, right? Next, you create a project folder, you know, open that folder in your Visual Studio, then initialize the new project inside that project folder, npm init-y. We know how to initialize node project by running npm init-y. Then run the typescript command, basically, like initial, not initialize, but let's call it execute the typescript, right? And by running this command, it will give you type config file. Okay, so let's complete this part right quickly. See, I have this typescript revision folder. What I will do is I'm just going to delete all this. All right, all this. Okay, just delete that. Fine. So in order to work with this folder, what I will do, I'm just going to open in the new terminal, right? Let's open so that it will be easy for me to navigate to that folder. Okay, open folder, and in my document here, let's go to JavaScript front end and somewhere typescript, right? And then I'm working on this folder. Okay, so that folder is open in my Visual Studio, right? Look at here. Fine, so I'll close all that. No need, no need. The first thing what I will do is initialize. So let me make this a little big so that you guys can see clearly, right? So first thing is to initialize the project. So what I need to run, npm init -y, right? Enter. See, I get package.json. Right now there is nothing, right? Next, let's add one file called app. So right now I don't have the type. See, the typescript is installed globally. I just need to do npx, right? What is the npx dash init, right? Something like that. Typescript dash init. Okay. So again, go back here and then run npx typescript tsc and dash init. By running this command, it will give me the tsconfig.json file. Basically, it has the rules, right? All the rules which is used for TypeScript. Lot of things, okay? We're not going to touch here today, right? Just leave it like that. Because you can make, like, let's say you have the source directory where you're going to write all your TypeScript code, right? Then when you compile, you're going to have, like deployment directory, right? Or out directory where your JavaScript code will be compiled, right? So for now, we just leave it in the root directory. This is a root. I'm going to create one file called app.ts, and we're going to write all our code here. Okay, the TypeScript code, right? Fine. So everything looks fine. Let me minimize this. I will minimize this also, right? So we can work side by side. Okay. So the next thing is, the first thing we need to understand is the basic types, right? Basic types in JavaScript. What are the basic types? Number. In data type, remember, this is very important, right? When there is types, always remember number, string, boolean, null, and undefined, right? Null, undefined. Okay, these are the basic types. So for example, right, let's understand how you're going to write TS code and then compile to JavaScript. Understand that? So let's say const x, right, is a variable equal to 1. Okay, clear? We know x is a variable and we assign 1 to the x. one is number, right? So how I can tell X that your value, whatever will be here, it always should be number, right? For that, you put the colon here just after the name of the variable and give it number, right? Done. See, once we have this, we can console log, right? Just now you can use that value console.log. Let's use it. X, right? This is how you can do that. You can use. Okay, so we just wrote simple TypeScript code. Now we have just app.ts here. Let's compile this, right? So that we're gonna get JavaScript and we can run that JavaScript in our uh, maybe server. So let's call it in the node here, right? In the terminal or in the browser. So here I will say tsc TypeScript compile -b, right? And enter. After running that command, you get app.js file, and see, everything is added here. In this one, you don't see the number and all that. You don't see here like number, right? That is only in the TypeScript. The code will be converted to the normal JavaScript, right? Now, if you run this code, it will be, see, normally it will run as our regular JavaScript file, right? That is all we have to understand. So first thing, what we're gonna learn is how to define the types for all this data type, number, string. So we just define the number, right? Same thing for string. So these are for number. Look at here. You can define for the string also, right? So to make this process quick, okay, I will just copy paste, right? Try to understand. See the name I'm adding in the, I believe I'm adding where, right? Save this. So something is not correct. Name is what? A block scope, right? Let redeclare the block scope variable name. Redeclare the block scope variable. Where we are redeclare. Okay, let's do one thing, right? What I will do is I'm just gonna change to name one like that. Maybe this name is the one of the keyword in this in our JavaScript, right? Keyword means like if, else, or any word, right? Reserved for the JavaScript, that is keyword. So maybe that is the reason it's complaining of. I don't see any name here, right? So find just change the variable name. Look at here, colon. That is the variable with string, right? Same thing, message colon with that is string, and you can hello and call the name variable, right? Fine. You can console log message, right? You can do that. So to compile this code, just go to the terminal here and tsc-b, and if you go back to your JavaScript, you see that normal JavaScript file, right? So we learned how to assign type to number, string, same thing with the boolean, right? Same thing with the null or undefined. So we understand how to define types for all this, right? Next thing, something called union, right? Union means either, like either number or null, either number or undefined, either string or null, right? Like two types together, okay? How you can define that, right? That is the called union. So let let's call it apple, variable apple, right? Apple, okay? So maybe like a number or undefined, right? Now you can assign here value. So number is, let's call it one, right? Or maybe five. So why we get error here? I'm in JavaScript, right? That's why. Let's copy this, remove from there, and then go back to this place. See? So if I console log now Apple, right, what you will get, without error, you get that value. This is also one way to define the type for the value here. Either will be undefined or some value, right? So you can define the union types in this format. Okay, simple enough. So check here, and you can have like let Apple equal to 5, and here is Apple, because either number or undefined. So we have number value here. If you put undefined, then Apple will be Apple equal to undefined. Same thing with the null also, same thing you can do, with any two types, either number string, right? You can do that also, or number boolean. So means two type you can define in the union easily. Fine, 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 right? So next thing is return something from the function, right? So let's say this is a function. Function is not returning anything. In that case, function name is like that, colon void. If your function not return any value, then you just put a void there, right? And this is the success uh, function. Okay, means it will not give any error, right, in your program. Means function, my function greet does not return anything. If somebody try to return this value from the greet, there will be error. Okay, so that means void means no value, right? It will just console log this one and done. The next thing is, right, that's hello world. How you gonna print hello world, right? Like basically the things to learn here is how to give types to argument of the function, right? So what is argument? Let's copy this. Argument is this value. That's the argument, right? That's the value. So you call this greet function, right? Then you are sending this value. You have parameter here. Simply the parameter is, we have two greet, right? So let's call it greet maybe again. And here I will put again. Okay. So this is the parameter, but it's complaining, right? It says this variable or this parameter first name implicitly has any type, means there is no type for this, right? If there is no type, then it means any type. Okay, it may be any type, right? But that is wrong. So you have to define the type now, and we know our data is string, so we just put here string. So that's how you define the parameter type. This parameter is same like a variable, right? So you should know which data you are sending to your function. That is important. Okay, in my case is string. Same thing, right? Return things to learn in the problem 2, some function, things to learn how to assign return types to a function. Return type right here, what you are returning is number. So how you going to define that, right? So let's copy this and quickly go through that. So in parameter, okay, here is you're sending two number, right? It's calling some function, sending two numbers. So a is number, b is number. Look at that. After colon, when you not return anything, what we put earlier, void, right? If I put void now, it will give me error. Look at this. Number is not assignable to void, okay? Because we are returning number a plus b, that is 5, right? Cannot assign to void. So either you leave it blank. The TypeScript is smart enough to understand whatever we returning is the type number. It is smart enough to know. But you can put more like security, right, by providing the type here. Additional check, okay? That is number. So after, just remember this formula, right? How we are defining the types in different situation. Done. So that is the type. So let's compile one time and check now. So tsc TypeScript compile -b, and if you go back to our JavaScript here, you can see now simply greet again function. That was the top one, right? And then you have this sum ab function, and it is returning ab. Okay, right? It's very good to go. So type and interface. Okay, what is type and interface? These are used for aggregating, right? Like combining a lot of different types together. Okay. In case of object, inside the object, you're gonna have a lot of types inside. So we use type or interface to define the types of data, right? So, you know, so one more thing here before we move that, right? If you look at this function, you know, this function, we just returning what? Boolean. You are passing number, right? To that is age, type is number. But you can return the correct type, right? Here you are returning Boolean. So that means either you put here Boolean or you can leave it blank, right? TypeScript is smart enough to understand, okay, whatever you are returning is Boolean, right? So even if you don't define, I will consider that as a Boolean. But you know in advance, right, what you are returning, better you add it there, okay? That's good to know, right? So let's, one thing, right? How, if you are passing a function, right? Function to another function. So here you are passing a function, right? To this delayed call function. So how are you going to define? Because this function is what? Now it become data. Remember something you pass to the function, right? That is a data now. Function is also a value, right? Data. Because it is holding something, console log, whatever, or maybe that function is doing something, right? But just remember when you pass function to another function, that function become a data. So when there is a data, you must define the types. How you define the types for a function? That is what we're gonna. So what I will, I'm just gonna delete this, right? Let's delete this and delete this also. First understand, right? You have this delay call function. You just pass this function right here. When you pass any value to the function, right? You have to receive that because you are passing a function. So I will just name that parameter like this or anything I can name, right? Okay, function. The next step is how you're gonna define the type for this function. So you can write a in like empty function like this and call it void, right? Void like that. Fine. So you can define something like this. Very simple enough, right? It says what? Type annotation can only be used in TypeScript, right? Okay, so I'm in JavaScript. That is my mistake. Let's this and go back to TypeScript and here, put that. So this function has a type like this because we are passing a function. So in that situation, you define your type in this format. Done. Now we're going to use this function, right? So we're going to run this function after 3 seconds or 4 seconds. So that is set timeout, right? Set timeout takes callback function like this. Remember that callback function, and then you can, like have this function, right? And then you have timer. Yeah, so let's call it 4 seconds, right? Timer. So I have callback function. I have a function, right? So I just run that function. That means, I don't need this. I just call that fn, right? This fn is what? This function. So same thing. I have predefined or I just pass the function. I receive that function here as a parameter and I can use it here, right? Just run that and it will do the job. After 4 seconds, this function will execute, right? So, you know, let's run this code and see what I can compile, right? So just pay attention here. After 4 seconds, it will run. But first, I have to compile it. TypeScript -b and go to the JavaScript and run the code, right? You can look at here, it just looks something like this. Save that, no problem. F5. So if you go output here, right? Where is the output? Maybe I think in the debug console. Hi there, but let me run again, right? So see, hi there will come after 4 seconds. See, hi there just appear after 4 seconds because this function is running inside the set timeout as a callback function, and you have this timer, right? So if you know how to set timeout work, that means you understand this. But the point here is how to define type to the function, right? Parameter. If you have function passed, this is how you're going to define type. Done. So now we're going to learn about the, let's not worry about configuration. Let's forget about that. Understand the interface, right? So why we need interface? Because if you take this example, right? This is user object with first name, last name, email, and age. You're going to use this variable somewhere. Just imagine you're going to send this object, right, to one of the function. When you send this data, what is the type of this data? In that situation, you will use interface and define the type. Let's call it user, curly bracket, and now all the property here, that is a string, last name is a string, email is a string, age is a string. Simply, right? Forget about everything. Just think, okay, one object stored in the variable. I need to create interface for that. Means you need to create type for that. So this is how you create type. The use case I will show you now. Let's copy this. And here, so there is a mistake, comma, and done, right? Look at here. The types, I mean, this is simple. Interface, user, give it any name here, right? Start with capital letter user. That is the better way, you know. And then define all this property. Done. So you have this type predefined. If I have a function, right? Function, like let's call it anything, like you know, display age, right? So this function takes object. Let's name it user, right? Users is an object, and from there you're gonna display the age, right? So you just maybe return, or just console log. Okay, let's console log, right? Console.log that object dot age. Remember, here it says user has no any type, right? So you're gonna call this function later, right? Yeah, that, and then it says, you know, argument user was not provided. So you have to provide the argument because this is a parameter, right? You must provide the argument here. So, you know, I will just call our variable user again. User. See? But here you can put anything, does not matter. Just call it obj is okay, right? Fine. I just have to use here obj now. This is the object which you pass, right? But what is the type for this? To define the type, object or variable colon and then the interface user. That's it. So we know now, right? Whatever in this object is this. Okay. And if you run now, let's go to the terminal, run this command and go back to the output here, or maybe uh, debug console, right? Hi there. Not that, you know, we have to go back to the app. Yes, you can check this function. Let's run this code, right? So that you can see the result. Okay. And 62. User.age is 62. You can see the age here. Fine. So that's the interface is used for, okay, defining the types for your object. It good, good. When you see interface, in your close your eyes, think of, okay, object has a lot of properties inside, so you can just define the interface, uh, basically type for that object, right? In this format, just compare, you know, and you will get the idea. but the use case will be like this, because you are passing the object, that object is stored in this parameter. Parameter must have type, and we know that type is this, right? And it is more secure now. If you put something here, like let's call it maybe ARR, right? Something. So it will complain now. Look at here, right? It's gonna have some error. I'm not getting some error, but like you don't have that type, right? Here, so it will give error. So let's see. Let's run this code and check. Compile now, right? Didn't get error. Okay, I don't know why. So maybe this is not uh, strictly checked or something, but it should give error, right? So it did not give error. But anyway, I mean, basically this will not be any error, right? Let's see. Let's see. Because I don't have type here. Oh, sorry, sorry. The value is okay, right? I have to define this, like here is okay. But if let's try here now, right? Let's call it ARR equal to something like that. Let's call it maybe string, right? Now giving, okay, now is giving error, right? Look at this. So argument type has all, don't have this value, okay? You have defined the type, but you're missing in your data, right? So it's giving error. Fine. That is what I was trying to. If you have type defined and you don't have data here, that means it will, update. It will just warn you that okay, you are missing something. Clear? So let me delete this. We don't need that. Was just to show you. Now that's the same example you can look at now, right? That's the user. This the function is legal. You see how I pass that, right? And then if user, I mean, if this is a variable, you can directly put here also, right? Or if you pass to the parameter, then or argument, right? You must like same process, okay? Here, what we have done is we pass to our function call as a value, right? Okay, so that is all you have to remember. Or you can directly use it as a if you want to use here, let's say you don't want to pass here, right? For example, you don't want to pass here, then you must use it here, same name, okay? This same name, right? User. So user, right? Still it's complaining now because this is a parameter. You don't have to pass. When you make it here, right? That will be parameter. So of course it will complain. When you have parameter, it says, hey, you need to pass from the function, right? So you don't need this. You can just use it here, right? But that is a wrong way, okay? Not a good way, not a good practice. So let's keep it what we had before. OBJ, go back to here and pass the user, right? The better way you can do it in this format. Now we have type checkings, we are doing all proper way, right? So you see, interface, you have to do types, title, description, done, boolean, right? Interface to do input, you can pass this one again here to do, right? Then this is more like a React kind of thing, right? So in the React, we're going to talk about this. Okay, let's leave this one because this, like you have the data type object, then you have to do maybe, right? Where you have this object passed. And then you're gonna, when you pass the props, in that case, you're gonna, destructure it into the to do object. And that object is equal to basically to do input, right? Like that. Okay. To do input, which is basically equal to this. So it's like a running round and round, right? But I will explain in the React. Next is types. What is types now, right? So type is similar to interface, okay? Similar, right? So only the way you write, see, type user equal to, and then assign this object, right, to here. But the only good thing about type, when you're gonna need type, right? When you have to use union, like more than one type, right? Like string or number. Type string or number, then you're gonna use type. You have to assign, okay, to the variable type, right? Or data type. So this is the format you have to remember. So the use case, let's talk about the use case, right? I mean, this is one simple use case. This is a function ID and the types will be either number or string. Then you call this type defined here. Then I mean, the way you assign, right? Like variable name or property name or parameter name colon the type, correct? And then you can use that here. That is one way. This is the two examples, string or number. That is fine. No error. It will give you no error, right? Intersection. This is a simple format. Intersection means how you can combine two types like employee types and the manager types together in the team lead type, right? In this format, okay? So here is one object, another object, put it together into this one team lead, and then const team lead variable colon type, you put it there, and then you have the value, right? uh, Robert Welker start date will be new date, department, software developer, all that, right? Look at this. So it's perfect defining, right? You can have employee type, you can have manager type, you can put it together, right? And use that. So that is called union, okay? Intersection, right? Intersection. So the one more thing I will explain is if you have an object, right? Simply object. Let's say we understand the object, how to define type for object, right? But let's say you have array with object inside, right? How are you going to define the type? For example, this one is that you pass the array with object inside the function, right? Filtered user. So how are you going to define the type for this? So first you have to declare the type for this object, right? Like interface user, first name, last name is individual object, because all this object will be same format, right? Their property will be same all the time, okay? So you define something like this. Then filter user function, you have parameter users. So users object inside the array. So this user is what? This user is nothing but this array you pass to the function, right? So what is inside this array? The user object inside the array. This user is the type you define here as an interface. That's how you define the array with object. Okay, remember that always like this. When you see something type array, that means think of object inside this array, right? Now return user dot filter. This is the higher order function like map, reduce, filter, same thing. So it will just return the new array when this condition is true. Basically, you loop through this array, right? First item like stored in this variable x. So x dot age 21 is greater than equal to 18. Yes. That means this will create a new array with only this value, because we have only one age greater than 21, 18, right? So that the only time it will be true. So you get return the new, basically new array with just this value. Okay, that is all we have to understand, right? In the basic types. Okay. So now let's recap quickly. Type is what? Type is basically the TypeScript is the superset of JavaScript. Means TypeScript is used for type checking for JavaScript. That is all. Okay. JavaScript is the one who is gonna run in our uh, browser or the computer, right? Or our Node.js program or server. Okay. So now just understand this part. Learn how to define the basic types. number, string, boolean, null, undefined, the union types, right? Then how you define the types for array, okay? An array with object or number. So even there is one example with number here. Look at this, right? So if passing array with number in the max value, so number inside the array. Before was users, that was the object inside the array, right? When we have object, but here is number. Now just find the max by using, I mean, all this work, right? What to do. That will be simple functions. Clear? So that's how you define the type. The thing is how you define type for some data, right? That is important. Please try to understand all these things. We're gonna talk again in our tomorrow projects. uh, every time we have to deal with the data and define the types, but this much basic understanding will be good enough for now, and slowly we're going to learn again, or use this type right in our javascript, because in javascript next.js we have done little bit before, but we're going to use again and understand more right in there. Thank you very much. I will see you tomorrow, guys.